One of the things that I hear from so many people is that they get stuck. So we're trying to break this down as easy as possible because, I mean, even though social media doesn't scare me now, it did when I was just getting started out, and it would have been a lot easier if somebody were right there with me telling me, okay, now just do that. So that's how this entire course was constructed. My favorite lesson from my dad, and I'm going to tell it to you right now, because this is what we're trying to do with the 10-day challenge. Because we feel like if we hold you accountable to doing the things that you're afraid of, that you're going to follow through with it and actually just get it done and do the scary thing. So let me tell you the story real quick, and maybe it'll resonate with you. I don't know. I think it was 16 years ago. I had just left the Air Force. I was back from my hometown, one of my hometowns of Bowling Green, Ohio. And I was very, very poor. And I had a son who was just a few months old. I was going to college and working my way through college. I really had no money. And I had a conversation with my dad. I was like, hey, so-and-so, my boyfriend from high school, he wants to get married. Like, Dad, what should I do? And he's like, Marissa, do you know why deer get hit by cars? And I'm like, no. And in my mind, I'm like, what is he talking about? What does a deer have to do with the situation with me getting back together and potentially marrying my boyfriend from high school? And he said, and I was like, no, Dad, why do deer get killed? And he's like, because they think that going back to what's known for them is safety. Instead of just pressing on into the unknown, they stop and they think for a second that maybe going back to where they came from is the safest bet, where if they had just kept charging in the other direction, they would have been completely fine. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, Marissa, do not be the deer.
We took all the questions we get all the time, watched Marissa and how she answered them over hundreds of these questions, hundreds of different applications. You know, a lot of you guys are joining us from the Mindset Mondays and Mastermind Mondays, so you'll be familiar with it. And so we just had so many people saying, where do I start? Where do I start? We were like, okay, here we go. Let's put it together for them. So that's what we're trying to do here. Are we ready? We're pretty tight timeline, right? Okay, cool. All right, just feel free to drop everything, couple of housekeeping things. You can drop stuff in the chat. If you have questions, we will kind of tag those all at the end, but you know, be sure to throw them in there. We'll answer them in order when we get there. But other than that, let's get started. All right, so we were talking about 10-day Facebook creation challenge. Most of you come to us live from the Real Estate for Introverts group. 9.9 thousand current members, so almost 10K. So I don't know if y'all all saw the bet a couple months ago, or not even a couple of weeks ago. Gosh, but we are playing a game to see when we hit 10K, but it's going to be soon. Mastermind Mondays, thank you for those who join us there. We are recording this one. We don't publish these recordings, so join us every Monday at 8 a.m. Mountain Time and get all this stuff for free all the time. All right, what are we doing tonight? Tonight, we're going to talk about who Marissa is, what she does, and why the heck you should copy her methods. Then we're going to dive into day one. Okay, we're going to cover day one. So many people get stuck. I know this was a problem for me on what kind of group should I start. And so we're going to dive into the best questions to ask yourself so that you know what group you should start, not just anybody. All right, and then Dubs is going to hit 5 slides and frequently asked questions. We're just going to fly through that. If you miss something, it'll be on the slides. I'll send this out to anybody who's on the list. So we're going to go pretty fast through that. The main show is Marissa. So why is Marissa the main show? Why should you me, not me? You should listen to Marissa. And the reason is, as an introvert, she's closed over 450 deals in 4 years without paying for a single lead. Okay, 400, that's 450 deals, not leads. 450 deals closed off of social media leads only. It's absolutely insane. This hasn't just been in her market. So Marissa's here in Springs, but she tells this story quite a bit. But a year and a half, 2 years ago now, I've worked with Marissa for about 3 years now. So they're all blurring together. She decided to start groups around the country. And so she started these groups, and that's what this number is now, with a grand total of basically 77,000 people total. across the country. So it works in different markets. And not only are the groups growing, we're getting referrals from them. Like the agents who work these groups, boom, getting referrals. I think we're closing in on 50 so far for
50.
the year.
Yep.
50 referrals just out of groups that aren't even in our area. So it's for every area. It's for so many different types of agents. We're going to touch on this a little bit, but one of the things that I thought for a long time was just like, okay, well, it's Marissa. She's special. She's a superstar. You know, she's just got the gift. Try not to blush too much, Marissa. But it's just not true. I saw it replicated over so many different types of personalities. I was like, oh, this could really work for other people, not just people who are like Marissa. All right. That's enough from me. Marissa, what do you think it has been your key to success? What the heck is the secret behind all these numbers?
So can you give me 2 seconds? Room service just showed up at my door. I'm so sorry. Just 1 second.
That's hilarious. Let's do a check-in. Y'all drop in the chat where you're from, what questions, what you're most, no, forget that. I don't care where you're from. I do care. Not really though. Y'all tell me what you want us to answer tonight on this webinar for you guys. Because this is about y'all who showed up. We want to take the time to answer what you want. So drop that in there while she's handling that.
I'm so sorry. Back. We asked for ice like an hour ago and the ice just showed up. Okay. One of the things that I hear from so many people is that they get stuck. One problem that I really never have, and Dubs can absolutely attest to this, is I do not get stuck ever. Like the times where I tell myself, you know, Marissa, maybe you should slow down. Maybe you should like really think about this before you just dive in. I actually charge harder in the direction that I'm afraid of. And I tell my kids this. I tell this story every Father's Day because it was my favorite lesson from my dad. And I'm going to tell it to you right now because this is what we're trying to do with the 10-day challenge. Because we feel like if we hold you accountable to doing the things that you're afraid of, that you're going to follow through with it and actually just get it done and do the scary thing. So let me tell you this story real quick, and maybe it'll resonate with you. I don't know. I promise, though, that it is applicable to what we're talking about here. So I think it was 16 years ago. I had just left the Air Force. I was back from my hometown, one of my hometowns of Bowling Green, Ohio. And I was very, very poor. And I had a son who was just a few months old. I was going to college and working my way through college. I really had no money. And I had a conversation with my dad. I think that I had been living in Bowling Green for maybe 6 months at this point. So I called my dad up and I was like, hey, so-and-so, my boyfriend from high school, he wants to get married. Like, Dad, what should I do? And he's like, Marissa, do you know why deer get hit by cars? And I'm like, no. And in my mind, I'm like, what is he talking about? What does a deer have to do with the situation with me getting back together and potentially marrying my boyfriend from high school? And he said, and I was like, no, Dad, why do deer get killed? And he's like, because they think that going back to where what's known for them is safety. Instead of just pressing on into the unknown, they stop and they think for a second that maybe going back to where they came from is the safest bet, where if they had just kept charging in the other direction, they would have been completely fine. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, Marissa, do not be the deer. I have not been the deer since. Like, I, of course, did not end up with my high school boyfriend, which would have been an absolute disaster. I would have been going back for all of the wrong reasons because I was scared to charge ahead. And really, ever since then, I've kind of bet on myself and figured out that, you know what, I'm just going to do the thing, do the scary thing. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, like lessons learned. And so the thing is that real estate does not scare me. Being on social media does not scare me. But I do know that it scares a lot of people. And so that's why we want to give you step-by-step instructions on, okay, like today, let's just break it down into small steps. Today, we're just going to figure out who your people are. Okay. Like, that's not scary, right? We can all figure out who our people are and the kind of groups that we would want to serve. Okay, now that that's done, let's break it down a little bit more. Let's figure out what our group name is going to be. That's not scary. We can figure out what a group name is and, play on Canva and create a cover photo for Facebook. That's not scary. And now, okay, we have that created. Now let's create a first post. That's not scary because no one is in your group yet. So we're trying to break this down as easy as possible because I mean, even though social media doesn't scare me now, it did when I was just getting started out. And it would have been a lot easier if somebody were right there with me telling me, okay, now just do this. All right, now just do that. So that's how this entire course was constructed. It's taken Dubs and I almost 9 months piecing this together because of all the messages that we get from so many of you, wondering what they can do as their next step. Well, this is all the steps pushed into 10 days, right, Dubs?
That's right. So, like Marissa said, we want to get you over the hump. It's not going to make you an expert, but it will get you started. And that is what we want. We want you to get started because that's how you learn. That's how you move forward in life. So I love that deer story. It makes me laugh every time. So I'm like, oh, it also gets me because I'm like a paralysis by analysis. And I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta be a better deer, not a dumb deer. So, all right. We are at the 15-minute mark. So we are moving quick. Day one. Who are your people? Marissa, walk us through this, please.
So the way that I create social media groups is serving me 5 years ago. I didn't know that I was doing that when I started creating my social media groups, but looking at it now, that's what I did because I can talk all day about serving the people who are in a position that I once was that I want to help. As somebody who grew up in the military, served myself, and is married to military, I have not lived anywhere. One time I lived somewhere for 6 years, but for the most part, it's been every 2 to 3 years I've moved. And I know that one thing that I wish that I had moving to this new location is somebody that I could trust who actually led with value and not sales. And I felt that as a child, growing up and moving, and then again as an adult, and then even buying my first house sight unseen from Colorado to Alaska. And then on top of that, I have a mom's group. And again, going back and helping those who feel lost as moms. I mean, anybody who's been in parenthood knows how lonely that it can be, especially in the first few years when you feel isolated and you're encountering all these things that you've never encountered before and you aren't really sure what to do. You can't leave your house because you are feeling tied down by a child. And so one thing that I could have used is having an online forum that I felt like I could relate to. And so that's what I've built here in the Springs and now across the United States. I have something called a No Spend Challenge group now that just got started up. And as somebody who loves to spend a lot of money, I know that I need sometimes reined in. My husband appreciates it if someone else can do it and it's not him because it doesn't help our marriage when he does that. And so I created this other thing just kind of on a whim. And that's another group that I've been able to pour into where we hold each other accountable. And then my true baby is Real Estate for Introverts because, again, pouring back into who I was 5 years ago. I am very introverted. I do not want to ever have to put myself in a position where I feel like I'm losing myself in a career. And if I had followed the advice of the people who mentored me when I was just getting started in real estate, I don't think I would have lasted even a year because I was being told that I need to door knock. I was handed a sheet of phone numbers and told to cold call. I was told to go to events, to go to farmers markets and put myself out there in a very physical and extroverted way. And I would have fallen flat on my face, not because I'm not a good realtor, but because that's not my way. That's not where I shine. Where I do shine is providing value. And how can I best provide value to a lot of people at once? It's through social media groups. And so at the very beginning, and this is something that I learned in the Army, working within a recruiting battalion and trying to recruit people, is that I would build these social media groups, not talk about the Army whatsoever, just try and build relationships. And then I would say, hey, so-and-so community, we're going to be in your town in the next couple of months. Who wants to have lunch? And then everybody would, invite us out. We already had the trust, and then we would jump in there and talk to people about serving the military and ways that they could get their college paid for and do something that would be fulfilling for them. And so I kind of took that and transitioned it into the real estate sector. And honestly, it was extremely effective in Army recruiting. And I'm like, if it is effective there, I can seriously do this anywhere. And it's been very effective here in real estate as well. So I know for a fact that this kind of methodology, it can work across any industry. But I'm in real estate now, so that's what I like to talk about is real estate. And I also know that it works for any type of personality because I have my real estate referral partners across the United States in my groups, and they're all selling houses in the groups. The only thing that they're not doing is talking about real estate, which is exactly what I want them to do. I do not want them to talk about real estate. I want them to build relationships. The people who are leading with real estate and not value are the ones who do not do well. And that's exactly what we are trying to teach you here.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're going to address that. I know that's a lot of people's question. How do I talk about real estate? How do I let people know that I'm an agent without being salesy? And we cover that. So we are going to go over the days shortly. Marissa, you got about 3
you want me to tackle
left.
Do you want me to tackle these questions?
Let's hold the questions. I'm going to dedicate 5 minutes for the questions at the end.
Okay.
So the last 5 minutes, and we have 5 minutes. I'm just going to touch on my favorite part. Marissa asked me this live on one of the podcasts that we did when it was really trying to narrow down who are you most protective of. And that was the question for me to solidify like the groups that I wanted to start, because I was like, oh, who do I care about protecting? Oh, I could talk to those people all day. I want to help those people all day because I feel protective of my group. So, we're a real persecuted group, us Texans here in Colorado. Not really, but, it's like, oh, I feel like I'm in a bit of a foreign land, and that's fun. It's lighthearted. So I ended up narrowing that, but I really like that question. So I want you guys to think about who are you most protective of as we kind of transition out of the who are your people. But if you have more questions about this specific day one, drop them in there right now. We will cover every question before we leave. All right. But I want to make sure we give you guys as much information as possible. So I'm going to send this presentation out to you guys, but I'm going to go through 5 slides in 5 minutes. And that is too much information in not enough time, but I want to get your questions answered. So really, let me just put all this up here. All right. We want you to stop doing business in a soul-sucking way, okay? So if cold calling is your passion, this is not for you. If cold calling feels like it kills you just a little bit each time, then this could be a better way. And it's because it's transactional. You're forcing conversations onto people who don't want it. You're going to the farmer.
Did Debs freeze up for everybody? Okay. So like she was saying, if cold calling is something that you're super interested in, if door knocking is like, you know what, that is my jam, this is exactly what I want to do, then seriously, I'm not going to be sad. You guys can go ahead and leave the Google Meet right now because this will not be for you. It's not going to be fulfilling. And the thing is that everyone has their way of pouring into the community and building relationships that's fulfilling for them. And that is not my way. I will never be able to teach that. Jen, if you ask me, Marissa, I have a list of 100 numbers and I really, really want to cold call them. I'd be like, you know what? You can't, I'm not your girl. I'm so sorry. I wish I was, but I'm not. But what we do want to teach you is a very field of dreams way of doing it. So my methodology has been build it and they will come. And that's what's been most effective for me. I have built all of these groups across the United States, and leading with value in each one, I have been able to grow all of them to where they are able to generate business. And so that's kind of what that is exactly what we're going to lead with then coming into this. And it will be a very, very step-by-step way of building out your groups. And then while also addressing the fact that this is not going to happen overnight. Once you build a group, it's going to take a few months of time pouring into your group before you actually see anything out of it. Because I do hear this a lot. They're like, Marissa, like I've had my group for 1 month now and I'm talking in it every single day and I haven't gotten any business. And I'm like, well, yeah, this is not something that's going to happen overnight. This is not Zillow. And so I'm so sorry, but you are going to have to invest the time of talking to yourself. It's kind of a rite of passage for those of us who lead generate on social media. But once you get over that hump, it kind of happens very, very fast. And I know this because I have people in my life who work with me here in the Springs who have built their own groups and they have really taken off. Like my husband, I know he's on here. He's one of them. My husband is a lender and he is the only lender that I know that hands out at least 10 transactions per month to his referral partners. Does anyone else know a lender who hands out business? Right? Lenders wait for you as the real estate agent to bring them business, right? This man generates more business than most real estate agents I know. And it's because he has his social media group. And then I have agents on my team who are very introverted. One of them is Sunny, who we actually had on our podcast. She's super introverted and she's been able to build her entire business off of talking about hiking. And she never talks about real estate. Am I right, Dubs? Now that Dubs is back?
Yeah, sorry everybody. My computer literally shut down on me. But yeah, like Marissa said, this is for all kinds of different people. Just really quickly, I'm going to show you this link where we put together a bunch of different, basically proof of concept. We interviewed Sunny and posted it on here. So go to our website. This is Sunny. Look how sweet she is. She's so sweet. Okay. She's probably the best human I know. And she does this in a 0%. She doesn't have a salesy bone in her body. Okay. And she's made this work for her. She literally doubled her sales once she joined the team. I think from 11 to 22. And then I think when we did this interview with her in April, she already had 25 deals for the year. So she's
she's encroaching on 40 right now for the year.
And then here's Mike. All right. So, a lender, a dude, totally different vibe than Marissa. And this, again, was several months ago when we interviewed him. He's at what, almost 3,000 now for his VA group?
Yep.
For his lender group?
Yep.
So we just want to illustrate for you guys that this works for all types of people. I'm going to hit this real quick. This is really cool. It's like, yay, we get all excited. We start work and then it's hard and then we quit. We get down here and it's like, it doesn't work for me. I don't know what I'm doing. And you walk away before you actually get to the other side. So we want to jumpstart this, get you through this, be here with you through this and push on. So let's see, we are closing in on 5 minutes left. So be the deer that lives. Okay. We want you to live, commit to a decision. This may not be right for you, but you should definitely decide. This can definitely transform the way you do business. I've got frequently asked questions here. I'm going to put them up. Oops, too far. I'm going to put them up just for a second, but really we are out of time. So I
think Debs is gone again. So what I'm going to do is tackle the messages that I have. Okay. So let's see. How do I know if my Facebook group idea is already out there? Y'all do not pay attention to whether or not someone already has your Facebook group idea. I have like 15 moving to groups. I have gone into areas that have 15 other moving to groups in that area, and it does not matter. If you are leading with value, no one cares that you have a group that's similarly named or similarly themed as other people, because the difference maker is the way that we're going to post in the group. Everyone else that has a moving to group is not leading with value. They are leading with their business, or they're running it even worse with their business profile. Do not do that. That is not personal whatsoever. Can we join a couple of Marissa's groups so we can see how they look? The people that are in my insiders group, if they want to come over and see any of my groups, I absolutely let them in. How long do you spend on social media per day and what hours of the day? So if I'm doing this effectively, I'm spending 30 minutes to an hour every morning on social media. But the great thing is that is my lead generation. So while my other agent friends are posting about how they went out and had to do all these events or door knock or whatever else that they have going on, like that is not a part of my day whatsoever. Most of my day, if I am lead generating, it is done on my couch, in the comfort of my home, in my sweatpants, with my kids, like running around in circles, which is fantastic. And so I never thought, so Sarah, I was in the military. I never thought that this would be my life either. And I started real estate at the age of 40. So if anybody can start real estate as a second career later in life, like anybody can do this. I think my sister, anyway, my sister's here in the hotel room. She's my hype woman. I don't know if you guys heard that. Okay, Alexis. Okay, so Lane Realty, rules for the group. Do you allow advertising, sales, etc.? So great question. In my mom's group, I do have a post where people can advertise things for sale, but it only goes on the sales post for that week. And then every week it's refreshed. On my my introverts group and a few of my other groups, I do not allow any advertising. Nothing. The second I see it, I decline that post and ban that member. They're gone. I don't even want to see it. I don't give them a chance, because once that infiltrates your group, that is going to set the tone for the entire group. And your entire group needs to be based on value, not sales. I'm telling you, like when people start to see sales group or sales posts, they'll leave groups. And you'll start seeing your numbers really go down, even if it's not you who was posting the sales. Pre-COVID, I was different too, single, running real estate business. Now I'm married with a kid, running real estate business, wine biz too. Mary Beth, like I'm telling you that, especially now that you are so busy, online social media is exactly where you need to be. I know it really is, because it is hard. I have 4 kids. It's very I don't want to leave my house. Like people are like, oh, we're having this thing. Let's get together. The real estate agents. I'm like, I don't want to see you. Like if you have a house for sale or something, shoot me a text and let me know and I'll absolutely advertise it. But like, that's about the extent of my relationship with you. I want to go home and hang out with my kids. I absolutely believe it's a numbers game. And how do you moderate as one person? So my local groups, honestly, it's very easy. I'm in there all day, every day anyway. Those are my people, and I'm very, very protective of my people. So for me, it's easy. I'm always in the introverts group, and even though that group has gotten very big, it's still very easy to moderate. Like I saw somebody trying to post an open house the other day, and I'm like, decline and ban. It says when you're joining my group that you cannot advertise. And so I don't feel bad about it, but I don't want to, it's your job to set the tone. And if you only have one or 2 groups, it should be super easy. And how does this course work for people who already have groups but want to elevate them? So one thing that we're going to talk about is growing your group. So if you already have a group and you're kind of feeling stagnant, the point of the 10-day challenge then is to reignite the, I guess the vibe that you're trying to bring to the table with your group and get it really going again. So there's an agent that I met in Denver. She has a group up there, and she said it started to get real salesy, and she kind of let the reins go for about 6 months. And after talking to her, she was like, okay, I'm going to start doing these things. And so through my, I guess, mentorship, she was able to reshape that group, get the sales out of it, and really try and lead with value with her Google searches and everything else that we're going to teach you on here. Best screening questions, Lane Realty. So it really depends on your group. So try and have questions that are not yes and no questions, because those are, questions that a bot can answer. So for the introverts group, I ask how long they've been in business. I ask them a 2 for yes or no question, like have they been able to get leads through social media, and would they like to learn more? And so I try and put a bunch of, I guess, dimensional questions in there. That way it weeds out the bots. And that's my most important thing with all my groups, is weeding out bots. Of course, with introverts, it's nothing but real estate agents, but I do not allow realtors in any of my other groups unless they are on my team, they are a referral partner, or they're in my insiders group. And so with them, I'm trying to figure out if they're realtors or not, because if they are a realtor, they're not allowed in my group. Because the way that I feel about it is, if somebody wants a group like that to advertise, then they need to create their own. I do not feel bad about it at all. And then Karen, I answered that about how do you screen for other realtors. So what I do is I look and see what groups they're a part of. Usually real estate agents love to join real estate groups. And so that's usually the number one giveaway. Number 2 is that they love to talk about real estate. And so all you have to do is look on their page, and it's just like boom, 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 real estate, real estate, real estate. How you close social media leads, can't get them closed. Honestly, social media leads are the easiest leads I close, because they already trust me. And that's why they're so easy. And I'm not saying easy to undermine that relationship. I am saying easy because I already took the time to build that relationship. It just didn't look like what I guess normal people do, normal realtors do to build that relationship. Mine was just done on social media. Do you think interest groups or real estate groups are better? I think both of them are just as effective. I have real estate groups and I have groups that are niche groups, and both of them generate just as much business as the other. The thing is that the moving to groups, what I like about those is that those people are moving in from out of town. They are going to be buying or renting, and so they are on a deadline. And so that's what's so fantastic about them. And then Orlando, Florida, I just want to listen on how to get started. Oh, I hope you're staying safe, Melissa. I know that there's a hurricane there. I keep hearing about it. Anybody who's in Florida, I hope you guys are staying safe, or on the East Coast. And then do you schedule posts across the 60 groups? Not anymore. Actually, I never did. At the beginning, I started off by myself. And remember, I didn't start all 60 groups at the same time. I had 3, and then I had 6, and then I had 12, and then I had 15. And so I started them by posting and Googling my way through posts for the first several months. And then now I have realtors in those groups, and I mentor them on how to do their postings in order to get business. So no, I do not do that. What to post before you let people in? I usually do an introductory post, and then a couple like value-driven posts, and then that's it.
And guys, we literally cover each one of these questions. There are no questions that you guys have asked that we do not cover and address in the order that you need to address them in the 10-day challenge. Like, Marissa's giving you quick answers here, but we literally have the thought behind it, the philosophy, so that you can answer these questions for your own group and stuff. And so, Marissa, I know you had a hard out about 10 minutes ago. I'm not sure why my computer has totally shut off a couple of times. But I do want to give you the opportunity to break free if you need to break free.
Yeah, you guys, I'm so sorry. We have tickets tonight, so I do have to go. Debs, can you wrap this up for me?
Absolutely. I gotcha.
Okay. Everybody have a great night.
Thank you.
Good. Cool. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm just going to show you guys the sign up information. I know people are wondering, what does it cost to sign up? How do we sign up? All of that information. And then I'll come back and circle back on any questions that we have. If I do drop off again, I will come back. I think it's averaging about a 30-second return. So let me just go to this last slide here and kind of walk you through. I'm going to take this link. Let's see, copy link. And I'm going to post it in the chat here so you can just click it and you can go. The cost of the 10-day challenge is 150 bucks. Okay. It's 100. Well, it's 149. All right. And I'm telling you right now, this is the cheapest it's ever going to be. Like when you think about it, if you generate one lead that closes in 6 months, 150 bucks is nothing. Okay. But really we need to create the buy-in, because what we want is people who are committed to getting to the end, because we don't want you to start and not finish. So anyway, sign up. All right, after you've completed the sign up, we'll send you a link to the Facebook group for just the 10-day challenge. Okay, it'll only be the people who have signed up in there. We'll do the feedback. Discussion can start now. New content will drip every single day. Okay, you don't get access to all 10 days at once, because every single day has a due out. Okay, it's about taking that baby step and actually doing the thing. Okay, it's about actually doing it for that day. That's what made it doable for me. It's like, okay, gosh, it's just create a cover photo. I can do that. Okay, no excuses. And by breaking it down little by little, it takes away the excuse to not get it done, because we want you to walk away with a group and with all the tools to grow your group at the end of the day. So sign up by September 30th at midnight. After that, signups are closed. This is our second one of the year. I don't know if we're going to run another one this year or not. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so that information's up. I'm going to run through some more questions. Let's see what we have here. So same, yeah, started at 50. Is it feasible to create a group that focuses more on group members connecting and creating content? Yeah. Creating new content daily. So Ebony, great question. How we position you within the group is as the mayor of the group. You don't want to just be giving them informational stuff, because what that does is that creates a transactional relationship rather than building that bridge of trust. So the way we teach you to post creates engagement and person to person, so that it's not, I'm an information person, I'm systems, but it just doesn't work as well. But that being said, if you create like a group for accountants, right? We had an accountant on here. Those types of people are your people, so it may work for your group. So that's the caveat there. So don't allow a day of advertising, again, group by group. The main thing is you want to learn how to create that sense of community without killing it. So if you start a small business group, right, for your town, like what's that board called that they had? It's like, you know, the small business board. Then obviously you want to allow for those business owners to advertise once a day. So it's like solving those problems one by one for your group. How important is the economy that you live in? Looking forward to more. What time will the challenge be daily? So the content drops in the morning. I recommend you complete it early in the morning and then, you know, get feedback throughout the day. But what we recommend is that you set a time each day that you're going to log in and read through the material, maybe let it percolate a little bit, and then execute for that day. So it's self-paced within the day, but then the next day we are moving on as a group. Like we are going to the next action step. So the only times, if you look on days 7 and 10, we do jump on again for a live webinar, just so that we can continue getting that live feedback, because there is something about, you know, talking to each other face to face. What do we do after the challenge? You celebrate because you did the effing thing, right? Like you did it. Like you continue to build a group. So let me just take one day. Okay, so these first 3 days, it's getting started, right? But then look at days 4, 5, and 7. Okay, these are the daily routines. We build them slowly that you're going to want to do every day to continue out for the next 3 to 6 months. Okay, and so that's what you do. We teach you what to post, the different types of posts, how to create engagement, right? What the signs are that your posts are trending in the right direction, even if you have 0 likes. We teach you how to grow the groups. So especially people whose groups have stagnated, like learning how to grow the group and make that part of your daily routine. Okay, I'm not lying to you guys. It is a grind of like making sure you are committed until you hit 200. And that's when it really feels like you start to get those fans. Okay, but you can do it. So you continue to put in the work of following the daily routine that we teach you here, and then mixing in some, real estate stuff and that kind of thing. Is it more of an accountability program? Is there a lot of content? It's definitely, accountability is a huge thing, but I mean, if you want it for free, go watch all our YouTube stuff. Like we have 20 videos up on YouTube. We don't hold anything back when we talk about it. So, those are about 20 minutes a piece. So you can go watch all those. But if you're somebody who overthinks and does research for days, for weeks, for months, and never takes action, don't go do that. Okay, like you already have enough information, and this is really about not being the deer that gets hit by the car. It's about helping you guys take that action step so that you have like skin in the game, and it's great. So accountability is definitely a huge piece, but it's to move you into that action. Well, okay, I think that's it. I'm gonna hang out here for 2 more minutes. Again, sign up link is there. Let me know if you guys have questions. You can DM me or Marissa. Obviously, she's gonna be at the play, so she's not gonna answer tonight. But cool. Thank you everybody for joining us, and looking forward to seeing some of you guys in the challenge. That starts officially on Tuesday, October 1st.
And Dubs, I'm sorry, I missed the answer to your question about what time of day do we meet?
Oh yeah, so the information will drop at midnight that day, and then it'll be available the whole day. And then it's just a feedback whenever you can log in throughout that day.
Thank you.
On the 7th, the live mastermind will be in the evening, and then the same thing for the 10th. We'll do 2 live masterminds. Great. Cool, everybody. I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you so much for taking the time. If you have any feedback for something we didn't cover, something you'd like to see, like we want to make this the best thing that can get you started, or to revamp your group. So is there anything missing for you guys who are still hanging on here? Like, is there anything missing?
I just put in a super quick question beforehand. Sorry about that. Can we like share with you and Marissa, like in the course, like feedback, like ideas, and then get feedback from you? Like, so you
Absolutely.
could
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that is, so it's part of your do out is to like, hey, do your work and then show your work in our little group just for the 10-day challenge. And then me and Marissa are going to be in there giving feedback, as well as, you guys, but really it comes from, we've seen hundreds of groups at this point. So yeah, we'll be giving direct feedback.
Awesome. This was
so
great.
Post early, because usually nobody posts and gets it done in the morning. So usually those get feedback the fastest.
Oh, good to know. Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Let's see. Jennifer, this is truly something that I was excited about. Like I used to hate social media. I used to really kind of scoff at Marissa's lead gen strategy, but I saw how life-giving it can be for anybody, because if you find your people and you serve your people, you're actually putting net good into the world and then just making money on the side. So like I was a hater, now I'm a believer, because I felt the change in myself. Like when I started doing my group, it just felt good. Like I enjoyed it so much, even though I only had like 10 people in there. And I was like, oh, I get it now. This is enjoyable to do. I don't feel fake. I don't have to be fake social media because I'm only creating content for my people. I'm not trying to get a bunch of likes. I'm like, oh, this is what I want to make because I want to connect with my people. Just signed up. Great, Mary Beth.
I signed up. I'm ready, Dubs.
That's what I'm talking
Let's
about.
do this.
Let's do it. Oh man, I'm gonna get those links started going out to the Facebook group tomorrow. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, anybody else? Anybody else? Going once, going twice. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night. I hope to see you there. This is good stuff. Bye, Corey.